listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to UppTalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say UppTalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it.
Now you know one task which is Workday Standard Report, which will give you all the reports which are delivered by Workday. Now, when you are copying a standard report, it is becoming a custom report. Now, if you want to find out how many custom reports we have in the system, then what you can do is you can run one task, all custom reports. There is one task. All custom reports. You can click on this report, all custom report, and it will give you the list of all the reports which has been created in this system. If I click, then it will give each and every custom report in the system. Now I think you are clear. What is delivered and what is custom delivered is something which has been created by Workday itself. Custom is something which we are creating in the system. Custom is something which has been created by Workday itself. Here in this tenant, there are total 62 to 26 custom reports. Custom is something which has been created by Workday itself. Those reports are, you can filter the type of report. Then you can filter based on data source. Custom is something which has been created by Workday itself. You can filter the type of report. You can filter the type of report. For anything. Then when exactly the report was created, when exactly this report was updated. When is the last time this report was run? And who exactly ran that custom report in the system? You are able to see everything. If you want to see how many custom reports are there in the system, you can run all custom reports. And if you want to check any specific custom report, for example, you already know like there is one custom report benefits. And you want to check who has created that custom report. What exactly is that custom report? Who has created when exactly that custom report was created? When that custom report was last time executed? All those details you will be able to see using this all custom report task. You can explore. This will be another activity. Like you explore the all custom report that you know. You remember what exactly this is showing. You are not taking any actions here. Instead, you will be able to see the details of all the custom reports. This all custom report will show you the list of all the custom reports which have been built by some user in the system. It may be you, maybe me, it may be anyone. Whoever has created, but that report has been created by some individual user. Someone's profile. You will get the list of all those custom reports using this all custom report, task. You can search for all custom report, click enter. And then you will be able to see this later. Now, yesterday, when I gave the activity, I think you explored when you copied a standard report. You might have explored custom report as well. And in that custom report, you might have seen multiple things. Data sources, for example, if I open this. Here, I think report is already open. You might have seen like there are a couple of things in this custom report. There is one report tag which we discussed yesterday. The report name, that is something you are giving when you are creating a report. Then the report type, then data source. Data source type primary business object and there are business object field. There are too many things you have seen. Here are a couple of things we will know. We will know now that is what is business, object columns, rows, data sources, all those things. What we are trying to understand now is what are the reporting terminologies? What are the things we are going to use in a custom report? And how exactly we are going to use a custom report? You might have experience in a database. I'm going to relate this, with database, or let me create one database. Let's say there is a company in which there is one table employee. In this employee this is employee table. Here the field are first name, date of birth, gender, hire date, 2024. Then here a B1, let's say some date 01 2020, let's say 2000, gender then hire date is 01 2024. This is a form. Here 2 at 2. Let's copy this one. Here in the ABC company, there is a one table. That table name is employed. And that table stores employee, first name employee, last name employee, date of birth, gender and hire date. There could be many more. In Workday, we have some terminologies. For example, business object. In Workday, what happens? All the data is stored in business object. Business object. What is this business object? You can assume business object is this. This employee is one business object. And this employee business object is storing employee details. Here, in this case, this employee is a business object. This is just an example. There can be many business objects in the system. For each and every type of data, there will be separate table and that will be maintaining the details of those data. For example, here employee, then there will be some other table dependent. There could be other table location. There could be other table benefits. or the table compensation. There could be many tables. There will be many more tables. We will know how many tables we have in Workday. We are not going to call them table instead. What we will be calling as business object. Business object is a kind of table in Workday which is storing employee details. Or you can say that the details related to that table. Here, the table name is employee. This is storing employee details. Dependence table will store dependent details. Location table will store location address details. Benefit table will store benefit details. Now here in the employee table, this is a business object. And here, whatever you can see first name, last name, date of birth, gender, hire date, these are fields. These are fields. This column, all this column, first name, last name, date of birth, hire date, these are called as fields. Then here you can see many rows. Each row contains one employee details. Each row contains one employee details. This row contains a one employee details. This row contains a two employee details. Here, in this case, each row will be called as instance. You can say instance 1, then you know it's instance 2. There are 7 instances in this table. Basically, like this employee, there are many tables. And in those tables, there will be many fields associated. It could be n number of fields. Here I have just mentioned 5 fields. When you will check Workday, then you will be able to see 200, 300 fields in just one business object. In another business object, you will be able to see another, 100 fields or 50 fields. And in each and every table, the fields will be considered as columns. The rows will be considered as instances. There can be many fields. It's not limited. You can create additional fields on those business objects. And then, at the same time, the instances will be the number of records. In a company, let's say there are 2,000 employees. This employee business object will store 2,000 instances. Dependence could be, more, could be less. Location could be more, could be less. If anything. But what you need to understand is how data is getting stored in a Workday. If you want to visualize, you can visualize like this. There is a business object. That business object is having many fields configured, and each and every fields are holding values for each and every employees. The fields will be considered. The columns will be considered as fields, and the rows will be considered as instances. For an example, if a company is having 1,000 employees, the employee business object will be having 1,000 instances. Now there is another thing, database. Now in database, you have heard tables, views, rows and columns. In database, what we have is tables, views, columns and rows. What table is here? Business object. I showed you the table. Now what exactly we do in view? In view, what we generally do is, if we need to get a subset of data from a table, we generally create a view with some filter. And sometimes, we join 2 tables or 3 tables to get the desired fields in one view, right? Let's say, like for example, there are 1,000 workers in the company in which there are 780 active. if you want to get data from a table, you know there are 80 active employees. In this case, you don't need terminated employees as well. You just need only active employees. If you need only active employees, then why not? We query on only this 780 active employees. There is no point of doing query on this terminated employees. What we are trying to do is there is a larger number of sets, and in which we are trying to find one subset, and we will be creating reports that will enhance the performance. Right? Because you know that report doesn't need to query for 1000 workers. Instead, that report has to query for only 780 workers, active workers. Basically, here we have one term data source. Data source will act as a view in Workday system. Then columns will be your fields. And rows will be your instances. If you want to visualize how data is stored, how exactly we are going to get data from Workday, then if you know database concept, you understand Workday. As you know in database concept, you can understand like business objects are tables in Workday, data sources are view in Workday, fields are columns in Workday, and instances are rows in Workday. Now we have another terminal lawsuit. The next terminal lawsuit is primary business object. A primary business objects are the main object for the report. Primary business object is the main object for the report. This business object holds the data, and this business object is going to display. This business object is going to be displayed in your report. When I say primary business object, then there will be another term, related business object. I'll explain, with example, what is this related business object? What is primary business object? What is primary business object? And what is related business object? Let's take and, let's consider this example. Here in a company, there are 7 employees. This is just ABC company. In this ABC company, there are 7 employees. For this employee, this company, this employee is a primary business object. This employee as a primary business object is holding details of each and every employee. One instance for each and every employee. Now this employee can have multiple dependents. For example, if this employee is, married and has children, then it could be there could be 3 dependents or 4 dependents for him. Dependents as in, let's say A1 is having spouse, son and daughter. Spouse name is, let's say any name, let's say S1. Son is, let's say, just name is son only and daughter is daughter, daughter 1. Basically, if this employee is having 3 dependents. See, when you join any company, you know that company asks you to update dependents, right? They ask you to, update you to the nominations, and then dependents that they can also get benefits. Basically, when you join any company, there are health insurance schemes, right? In that health insurance scheme, they ask you to update your dependents. And from those dependents, they used to decide, like who exactly are going to cover in the health insurance. You can take add-ons as well. Here in the company, for you, you are just one employee. There cannot be two employees with the same employee and same name. There will be unique records for each and every employee. For this employee A1, there is a record. There is one instance here, B1, all these details. Their dependent details are stored in different table. This is dependent table. In this dependent table, your dependent details are stored. Here, in this case, this employee will be the primary business object because this is the primary entity in the company, and all these dependents are the related business objects. These are related to A1. All these are related to A1. These are not employees of the company. These are in relation with A1. In this case, employee will be primary business objects and dependents will be related business objects. Now, next is you understand the primary business object and then related business objects. This is fine. And now you also understand the business objects. If I say, if I ask like how location details are stored in Workday, then how would you understand and like how exactly it is, stored in Workday? Can anyone explain how it could be? Let's say there is one business object location. And if we want to identify the address, line 1, postal code and all those details, how can you visualize like how data will be stored in Workday? Basically, I just want you to describe the location business object. When I'm saying you need to describe location business object, that means I already mentioned what are the fields that is storing. Here, in this case, just tell me location is a business object. What is field here? What are instances here? What are feeds here? Let's say here location. Location. This is business object. In this business object, there is street, place, address, line 1, state, country, zip code, place, address, line 1, state, and state. Here, in this case, this is a table. I'm trying to create one table. Let me do that. This is a table. Now in this table, what exactly is instances? See, here you saw the unique rows. But see what I'm trying to say here is this is one table. And each and every row is one instance. If I change the table, let's say here instead of employee, if I'm talking about the location table, here also this. Fields are, these columns are field. This street address is field. This address line is field. And all these rows are instances. It could be one-to-one relation. It could be one-to-many relations. Here, one employee can work from only one location in a company. Right? Therefore, employee to location, there is one-to-one location. If company is allowing to work, to work from multiple locations, then it will be one-to-many relations. And here from employee to dependent, there will. This is definitely a one-to-many relation. That relationship we will learn later. One-to-one and one-to-many. But yes, you're right. Here employee is the primary business object. This dependent is a related business object. This location is also related business object. Now let's say there are. Now if we need to get the details of the dependents, first name, last name, date of birth, gender. If you want to extract these, if you want to consider those fields, then all those fields will be related to employee dependents. Here again, employee will be the primary business object and dependents will be the related business object. We are going to discuss that, later, but I just wanted to, let you know like what exactly is business object. And in business object, when we say what is primary business object, what is related business object, you should be able to relate, and it is a relative term. It is a relative term. For example, dependents can also have location. Dependents can also be part of one location, and here is the location table. Now here, dependents will become the primary business object and location will become the secondary, related business object. If we want to get the street address of each and every dependence, then in that case this location will become related business object. This dependence will become primary business object. Now let's come to data sources. The next is data sources. All these terminologies will be used when you will be creating a custom report. Tomorrow we are going to create, some custom reports and we will start, custom reporting concepts. All these terminologies will be used there and then you will be able to relate and understand. And here one more thing. See, I am saying this business object is considered as tables. But whenever you talk to someone in Workday terms, never mention tables. I just explained this to relate that you can relate. If we need to relate Workday from database management system, then this is how you can visualize a business. Objects are tables, data sources are views. But if when you are talking, let's say you are attending any interviews there, you can explain like this, only tables views, that is something you can use. But don't call employee table and dependence table. When you're talking about Workday. Explain business object and all that's fine. You can consider. But always talk in terms of Workday terms. Business object data sources. Now data sources are of two types. One is a standard data source. And second is index data source. I mean, both these data sources are, delivered data sources only. It's not mean, only standard one are delivered. Both are delivered data sources only. These data sources are provided by Workday. Now here a standard data source. A standard data source are normal. Just a normal data source. Here as I explained employee data, employed is a business object. Data source is created on business object only. It's a kind of view. Here, data sources can be a standard, means there is one data source which can contain all the workers. Then there is second, Another data source which can contain only active employees or some other details. Then there comes, it's a regular data source we have in Workday. You will understand more a standard database when I will talk about the index data source. Index data sources are actually created for optimizing performance. Index data sources are some special type of data sources which does not contain all the records. It contains only specific rows, specific instances that it enhances the performance in the report. Here, if you see in Workday, let's say I'm trying to create a custom report. To create a custom report, there is a task create custom report. Index data source has been created, to enhance the performance of the custom report. And if there are some limitations as well, you will not be able to find index data source for each and everything. That's why we have some standard data sources. Wherever it's possible in Workday, you use index data source. If there are, cases where you are not able to get desired information from index data source, then you use a standard data source. Here, if you show, and here, if I show, you create custom report. Here, if you show, you have a custom report. Basically, let's say, in your colony there are, 10 houses. Now, let's say, there are 2 colonies. In one colony, there are 10 houses. And each and every house is having same design, same color. Now there is another colony where, there in that colony also, there are 10 houses. 10. And in those 10 houses, each and every house design is different. And color is also different. Now, if in both the colony, I have my home. If I ask you to search my home in first colony, and if with the description, if I say, let's say you enter in the colony, just go to the right and you will be able to see my house. And in the second colony, I said you same thing, but I added one more thing. Whichever house is having red color, that will be my house. In which house you will be able to identify my house easily. The first one. All the houses are, whichever colony is having different color. And if I, say like whatever house is red, that's my house. Whenever you enter the colony, it's pretty much easy for you to now search my house. And in the first colony, where each and every house looks like same. See, you will be able to find my house, but you will take some more time. You are going to read each and every board, and then you will find my name. Then only you will be able to understand. But in the second colony, whenever you enter the colony at a very first class, you will be able to understand. This is my house. That is in red color. That is the difference between a standard data source and index data source. Standard data sources are like, common. Everything is there. You need to find out. You will take some more time. Index data sources are like you have specific information in which you know what to search and you can easily identify. I mean, you will take very less amount of time to find all those data, all those details. This is the difference between standard data source and index data source. Here, if you see there is a data source, all active and terminated workers. Terminate workers. See this all active and terminated workers. Here you can see there is one database symbol. This is a standard data source. This is a standard data source. And wherever you are able to see this, you know kind of what we call this symbol. You know you can't call this symbol as some electric symbol, something kind of. This symbol is actually index data source. Whenever you search for any data sources, how exactly you are going to search and all, that is a different thing. We are going to cover tomorrow that thing. But don't worry about that thing. Basically here, whatever data source you are going to enter, how exactly you are going to understand whether that is a standard data source or that is index data source. You will be able to understand via this symbol. If the symbol is database, then this is a standard data source. And the other symbol is index data source. You will be able to see only two kinds of data sources here. It is mentioned in the index. Uh, uh, but from symbol you can identify there is one more use of, the symbol. When you use index data source, then you will see when you will call the column, when you will actually enter the field in the report. There also you will be able to see the difference. But anyways, I mean to identify here, index will also be there. You can identify from this index. There is in bracket, there is index written. From this, you will be able to identify index data source. And this is normal data source. Now, if I say this all active and terminated workers, this all active terminated workers contain all the instances of active employees and all the instances of terminated workers. Basically, whoever is part of this company, whether employees, active or inactive, you will be able to see all the worker details. And when I selected this data source, automatically this optimized for performance got unchecked. This optimized for performance will only be checked for index data source. Now let's say here I'm using another data source, which is index data source. Worker for estim reporting. This data source also contains same kind of information. But this is the index data source. When I selected index data source, this is not auto-checked. This is auto-checked. This checkbox is auto-checked, but then when I'll use a standard data source, then it will not be checked. It will go blank. Now how exactly we are going to use this data source? That's a different thing, but at a high level you need to understand a standard data sources. Sorry, index data sources are more performance oriented than a standard data sources. How exactly you can identify? You can identify using this symbol. Also, when you will click on this, triple dot that is related. That is related. Related action here. In data source type, you will be able to see index. This is how you are going to, identify the index data source and a standard data source. Now there is, one checkbox or, optimize for performance. Here the observation which we see is when we are selecting a standard data source, then this checkbox is got disabled. But when we are selecting index data source, then it gets enabled. What exactly this is doing? What happens in index data source? We have index fields as well. If you want to use non-index field in your report, then this will be auto unchecked. If you are using only index data source with the index field, then only this will be checked. When we will be creating a custom report there, I will show you like when you are checking and when you are unchecking, what differences you will be able to see. Basically, you will be able to see, some of the fields will appear, and then those fields will not come when you will check this checkbox. That is something we are going to learn tomorrow when we will be actually creating a custom report. But for the time being, did you get what is a standard data source and index data source? Now there are other terminologies. Today we will just cover the terminologies. It can every terminologies whatever we are going to use in the report. Now next terminologies are see the database system, database management system, right? In database managers management system, basically when you try to create a table, let's say you are trying to create an employee table. In that employee table, you have to create 5 fields. Whenever you are creating fields, you have to define the data type of the fields right. Whether a name is a string, name is a worker, name is double, name is number. What exactly is name, right? Basically, when you create any table and when you configure the fields there, you define the data type. In Workday also, we have some data types. Those data types are text, then numeric, then we have currency, date and time is separate. We have data types. Then we have Boolean. Then we have single instance. And then we have multi-instance. And the last is self-referencing. Now we know text is something You know that is a string. For example, we know this is a text. This is also a text. Text is something just a string. Numeric means numbers. Currency means the currency value like 50, the 50 $100. Those are currency. Dollar, those are symbols. Those are currency. Then we have date time June, and then Boolean. Boolean means mainly you need to understand these four. Boolean is something true or false. Either yes or no. Let's say you are asking one question. Are you male or female? If I ask your question, are you male? Then you can answer yes or no, right? Either yes or no. We are going to create multiple conditional things. Conditional fields here. Those conditional fields will return. Let's say if there is email, if the person is male, then that has to assign this much of thing. If the worker is female, then that will be assigned something else. If we need to create those, there are automatically. There are some work they delivered. Boolean case as well, which will return true or false. For example, active. Active is a Boolean field. Here in the report, if you try to add one field active, then you will see active status is a Boolean field and you will see T and F symbol there. I'm going to show you that think more of the symbol and doll that will return true or false. When you will run the report, then that field will return either yes or no. It will return either yes or maybe blank. Blank is no. In work, the blank is no. It will be true. This is true false. True false type of field. Then we have single instance field. Single instance fields are like here in this table employee. They are employed. This employee is a single instance field. One income in one company. Your profile can be only once. You cannot have multiple profiles in the company. And that profile is actually, that these fields are single instance fields. You can say the instances are also, this is a single instance of fields. Basically, you cannot have multiple profiles in your company. You will be having just one profile. You are a single instance. Worker is a single instance field. But worker can have multiple dependents. Whenever we talk about dependents, this dependent is a multi-instance field. Let me show you how this looks like. Here, if you see, there are many fields, almost all kinds of fields. Let me add one more. Then I'll show you. The tenant is a bit low. Now see, here there are some symbols. See this employee, ID is a text field. Can you see? Let me make this a bit bigger. Now this is too much big, but anyways. Here, if you see this, let's see. See this employee, ID is a text field. Now this employee ID is a text field and that will be represented by this T. This T means this is a text field. Then this active header. This is a Boolean field. This will return yes or no, true or false. The true or false symbol is this one, a T and F. This is a Boolean field. This is a Boolean field. Whenever you see this symbol, this is a Boolean field. Now this is a numeric field. Now this is a numeric field. When I will call myself, there will be some situation where you are going to call yourself. That is a self-referencing field. This symbol is going to, this symbol will be used to denote self-referencing field. Then you will see date field. This is a date field. Here you can see the calendar. This is a date field. Now if you scroll down a bit, then here see, this symbol is your single instance field. Worker can have only one gender. It cannot be worker, cannot be male or female, both. Either it will be male or female or just a different thing. Basically, there is, just one gender of a worker. This is a single instance field. Now, if you see in the last, this is dependents. Dependence is a multi-instance field. Here you can see there are multiple nodes coming from one root node. This is a multi-instance object symbol, and it shows like there is one origin, and from that origin there are multiple branches or opening. That is a multi-instance field. But single instance field means if worker can have just one gender, that is a single instance field. Worker can have multiple dependents. That dependent is a multi-instance field. Now your next activity today. I think you know that activity I already gave yesterday. You know too, whenever you are copying a custom report, whenever you are copying a standard report to custom report, you need to explore that custom report. I think some of you have already explored, like there are some prompt tabs. Then there is a filter tabs, soft filter tab. But that is something you have already explored. Again today, you have to explore that custom report only. And in that custom report, just try to identify whatever reports you are copying. Let's say active employees you are copying. In that active employees, there are some fields. 10 to 11 fields are added, right? What you need to do is you need to explore what those fields are. How will you explore? I mean, what data type of that field is. That is something you will be able to explore via symbol. You can just see the symbol. You will be able to identify what field data type is. That is one thing you need to explore. The second thing today you need to explore is, let's say, this is one report I have built. Just try to click on each and wherever you got this option. This related action option, just try to click on that related action and explore what are the options you can see. Here also, this is a report definition. Here in the report definition, there is a related action. And in this related action, see what are these, what are what? Exactly, this thing. That's on a report. This is a related action of report. Then here in the field, before we go to field, there is some data source. In data source also, you will be able to see this related action. Just click on see on this related action and explore what are the options you can see. In data source fields, data source filter also, you will be able to see this related action. Just click on this related action and explore what are these, what are the options you can see, what are the details you can see. For example, here if I click all active workers, here if you see there are many details. Now let me do this. Let me do here now. If I click on this related action of this data source filter, you will be able to see many more details. Let's just open. See here the name is all active workers. This is a data source. I mean the data source is, workers for S team reporting. These are the security group. There are Vukulalias. All these things you will be able to see. All these things you need to explore. Then here in the field also, let's say there is one, hire date. Let's say this hire date. Click on the related action of this hire date. When you click on this field, and if you want to understand the details of the field, all those details of the fields are stored here. If you are confused, let's say you know what field you have to use. What you can do is you can just click on the related action of that field. You will be able to see the description. What is the description of this? Field is the worker's most recent hire date. This report field cannot be effective dated. Hire date cannot be effective dated. Hire date cannot be effective dated, but this field is going to give you the recent hire date. In Workday, there can be multiple hire date. Let's say you joined company and then you left. Then again you joined. Then again you left. Then again you joined. There are 3 hire dates there. This field is going to give you the recent hire date. The previous hire date that will be, that you can fit by some other, methods. But what this field is going to give you is the hire date, recent hire date. Then if you want to understand whether that is a calculated field or Workday delivered field, here you can see there is a field source. In field source, you will be able to see this is a Workday delivered field. The data type. If you want to understand, this is a date kind of field. Category. In which category this field is being used: benefits, employee, eligibility, employment. There could be many more categories. Then some, security, groups as well. And then the indexing information. This is something it's not relevant for you right now, but what you need to understand: this field name, business object description, field source, field type, related business object. This is something you need to explore. Your today's activity will be, whatever report you have copied, whatever standard report you have copied as a custom report, just explore the related action of each and every object. Explore the related action of the report name, then explore the related action of the data source, the data source filter, and then explore the related action of the field and try to find out if there is any custom fields or calculated fields associated in that report. Or if everyone is, if each and every field is delivered, report. Also try to, you don't know, calculated as of now, but that is something you will get to know. When you will click on related action, you will be also able to understand the business object, the related business object of that field. Today's activity, you have to explore all these things. Here, let's say, this is a little bit of a business object. This is a date of birth field. You clicked on related business object. Sorry, you clicked on related action of this date of birth field. Then you will click on related action on of this date of birth field. It will give you, like this date of birth field is on employee business object. Then this will give you the details of related business object. What is the name? It will give you whether this field is a calculated field or Workday delivered field. All those information you will be able to see, and you will click on related action of the field. This triple dot is a related action. One more thing, I'm just, covering today and tomorrow. We will quickly, start creating custom reports. We are done with the, basics of reports. Now you are good to create a custom report. One more thing which I want to show you today, which you can explore, is in search box you need to write business object details. Business object details. I was saying, right? Like in Workday, there can be many business objects. I mean, here I was giving example, like employee business object, dependent business object, location business object. Basically, in Workday, there can be many business objects. We have one report, business object details report. You can note it down. Business object details report. This report will give you the details of each and every business object. If I click on this, the tenant is low. I want to take more than 2 minutes here. Business object. Let's say I am giving worker business object. Worker business object. Thank you. This is a worker business object. This is kind of this business. Object is kind of table I have created here. I have mentioned employee. This employee is, worker here. This is one of the business object. In this business object, if you want to see how many fields we have, you can see total number of fields in this business object is 66644. There are total 6644 fields in this business object. And in this, in this many fields, if you want to understand like how many fields are delivered fields and how many fields are calculated fields, what you can do is you can apply filter on the field source. Here in the field source, if you say calculated, then it will give you only calculated field. Let's see. Let's let it, let's just filter out. In this 6644, there are total 3725 fields which are calculated fields. And other than this calculated field, all the fields are delivered fields. If you want to explore any business object, then you can use this, report, business object details report. If you know the business object name, enter the business object name, click enter. You will be able to see all the details of that business object. Like what are the fields this business object is storing. Here we can see, number of fires, number of terminations. All these are the fields in this business object. And you will be able to see the description. If there is any calculated field where someone has updated description, you will be able to see that. If they have not updated description, you will not be able to see. But for delivered fields, you will be able to see description most of the time. Then the another column which is giving calculated or delivered. You need to know. You will understand whether that is a calculated field or delivered field. Wherever it is delivered, that is defined by Workday. Wherever you can see calculated. This is something created by us. Any user in the system, then here field type. This field type is numeric. Take, whatever I was telling you, the data types. Then related business object. From this field, if there is any business object which is related, those things you will be able to see in this column. If there is any built in prompts we are going to discuss tomorrow. Built in prompt with, let's say, you are creating a custom report and when you are clicking on that custom report is simply giving you data. Now let's say your manager has asked to create a custom report in such a way that custom report should ask for the country before running that report. Whenever you are trying to run that report is asking you to enter some values. Let's say you enter United States. Let's say you enter, Australia, India, any country. Whatever countries you are entering in that prompt, that report should give the list of employees for that country. It's not like you are entering India and it is giving employee details of us. That should not happen. Basically, when you are entering any values, when report is asking you to enter any kind of values, that is what we call prompts in the report. That is something we are going to discuss the later. We are going to design some prompts as well. If there is any built-in prompt, you will be able to see here. Now, if there is any category, there is not, much use of this. But basically, when you create any kind of phase in the system, then you should define the category. That will help you to segregate the calculated and then authorizes it. Basically, there are a couple of tabs here. This will also be your activity. You just type business object details or in that report enter business object as worker. Then enter, then explore all these tabs. There are 4 tabs. This is field. Then there is related business object. Then there is data sources and there are reports. You need to explore all these things. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@uptalk.com.